welcome to our session today. Today, we want to look at punishment. Punishment. Punishment is something, especially punishing the young. For example, if you're a teacher, punishing students, and also as a parent, punishing your children. This is a very critical topic that most people doesn't want to talk about, or in most cases, we take one-sided. But without like the conversation around punishment, most people try to avoid it. And me having worked as a teacher once in my life and in a school, in a mixed school, I wanted to look at like punishment that happens, and also because I'm a father, I want to talk about how punishment, like something that I have experienced with punishment. So from my point of view, it has come to my realization that we either punish because we are venting, or because we want justice. Now the problem with that is this: if we go the justice direction, then um, the then we need to do a lot of work before we do the just thing. So for example, if you want to be just, we are human beings, we are biased in so many ways. First of all, as a parent or as a teacher, before you say, now, you qualify your need to punish some student, or to punish your son or your children. So one thing, if you want to be the just guy, the justice guy, one thing you have to find out, what are your repressions? What are you repressing? Like, what was transferred to you by your parents? Okay? And which then makes you angry, like then it triggers the anger in you, that what makes you want to punish a child. So those are things that you have to look at. Second, you want to really understand the problem, to take your time and really understand the problem. Okay? And the third, the third is to understand yourself and your biasness. Okay? So this is the most, like, these are key when you want to punish. And in most cases, we don't have time for that. It's a trigger, pop, and you want to punish, or you want to hit someone in that moment. So we never take time to breathe and disintegrate the two, like kind of separate the two, me and my emotion and the act that has happened. So that is one thing. Another reason is because people are venting. That means, like, you actually transferring some feeling or some emotion towards your child. So for example, what I see, or from my experience, so I can also talk about my experience, is that I remember when I was always late, or had some traffic issues, or had some issues with my boss, or there's some tasks that are supposed to be done and I didn't finish it. I come home, my mind's kind of full, and then I get into, like, my children gets into, like, my children gets into my way, and then I don't have time to start thinking. The only thing I could do is like to punish them. And punishment, there's so many ways of punishment we're going to look at when we as we continue. So having said the two, you're either venting, or you're transferring something that was disturbing you now to the next person, or you want to be just. And I want to give you an example. I was teaching in a high school. I come from Kenya, and in Kenya, by then, punishment or caning in school were allowed. So then, when I finished school, I was working in a school for a while. Now the thing is, this was a private school, and the it was like a new private school, and the owner of the school was not so financially stable. So we reached a point where the amount of money paid by students would equate to how much the teachers were paid. Okay, so look at that situation now. Look at that scenario now. This is what's going to happen. So you have parents who were always paying in time. That means the teachers were getting their salaries in time. Okay, and now then there are two parents. I remember very well this situation. that these two parents, they didn't have, I think they were like the mothers, the two mothers, they didn't have husbands. I think they were single parents, single moms raising their children. So they could not always make it to pay fees in time. That means that the amount that the teachers were getting were always getting reduced. Now, this is what happened. Now, they after a while, after 3 months, after 4 months, these kind of biasness started appearing, among the teachers. So, for example, if you are sitting on a staff room and that boy, I remember very well, didn't do the assignment, the punishment he would get would be more, plus, like, plus the hatred that your parents are not paying. So this is something that you are now venting. There are also cases where I was in school, and in a mixed school in this case, the principal of that school was befriending a girl in the same class, and there was a boy in the same class who was the boyfriend of that girl. Now there was conflict of interest there. Now the thing is that every time this boy would get into maybe also like issues with school fee, or he was late because it was Saturday school. If he was late, what kind of punishment he would get. So he would be caned, sent back home, given like a 2 weeks suspension, just because of those kind of things. So sometimes I ask myself, what is behind the scene? What is in the background that you're not seeing when you're punishing someone? Okay, and that is the key. If you know, and my hope is always that everyone start understanding themselves and their impressions. And when you understand yourself, there's no way when you're going to punish someone. You're going to take your time to breathe in and kind of really relate and take the best approach to address the issue at hand. So that's one thing. Okay. I said there are also other ways of punishment that, for me, like, I pity kids when I see this kind of punishment being implemented. So one of them is like, if you have a child that is um, if you have a child that is um, doing things that you don't like, there are those prayerful parents. Those prayerful parents. If you are one of them, please just listen to me. There are those days when the parents would sit down and they say their prayer item is their son, who is a thief, and the son is there. I don't know, like, only God knows how much damage you're doing to that brain, and how much away you are bringing that brain from the God you are saying you are preaching, you are praying to. Because what this person now will, what comes into the child's mind is, oh, this God is a tyrannical God who always wants to punish me. And so this makes children really, like, this is tough for children. And in schools, if you do that, I think it's like really crazy. Another way of punishment is lecture. Whoa, lecture is another thing. Lecture goes direct into the brain. I was talking to a friend of mine and I said, um, after living in Germany for long, and I said, in Germany, it's not allowed to physically cane the parents. But I also realized that the lecture sometimes in Germany, like from the German parents, from my point of view, what I had from some few parents, the lecture was so bad that I thought, whoa, I wish someone did just like cane me, and I know that after that everything is going to, like, after a while the pain is not there anymore, and I can't really say, yeah, the pain is there. Okay, yeah. And if someone says, yeah, we don't allow like physical punishment, and these people, but then they have the ability to just talk into your mind, they get into your mind with the information they're telling you, they curse you. So this is also another way of very bad punishment. Now, to wrap up everything, I want to show you a method. If you've been punishing your child, I want to show you a method, okay, that will shock your child. So I want you to do this. If you see that, like, if you observe like there's a tantrum, the child is kind of messing up, and you're like, whoa, I'm soon going to hit you. So one method is this. I always sit down, and in my case, I go to the toilet or I go away a little bit. I walk away, like I walk away from the child, breathe in and out. And then I tell myself, there's an issue to be addressed here. So it's not about me, it's not about the child. We have to sit together and address the issue. Now, what that one does is like it switches your mind, and now you focus on addressing the issue, and you go there with the mind like, I don't want to hit you, but I want to address the issue. That's one method. Another method is when you realize that there's a tantrum going on and you're almost hitting a child. And this is for people, for parents or teachers who have been punishing the children. So I want to do this. Say something like you are pulling all the trigger to get to me really angry to hurt you, okay? But I'm not going to hit you. So just continue doing whatever you're doing, and when you're done, we can sit down and talk about it. If this child, if the child in the situation is always used to being punished after doing all that, this is going to be like a game changer. Okay, the child is going to look at you like, "Whoa, today I'm not getting spanked, or today I'm not going to be hit." So that is going to be, and then keep that and save that one second time and third time. Then they will be so confused, and then take that advantage of confusion to address the issue. Just tell them, I see you are pulling all the silly triggers and all the tricks so that I get angry and hit you. But whatever you do today, I'm not going to hit you. Just say that, and you will be surprised how that's going to change your child. You know why? Because this is what happens. You hit once. Okay? You hit once. So hitting the child then is directly proportional to then the reaction. So for example, there's hate. So hate goes up. Second round, this is like your dividend that you're earning. The more you hit, the more hate goes up. The more you hit, the more hate goes up. And then later you will have a child that is kind of who you cannot communicate to, who knows that every time they want your attention, they need to trigger something so that you get angry and hit them back as a way of the attention. And that's what you as a parent doesn't want, or you as a teacher, you don't want that kind of system. Okay. You realize that when you hit a child once, then there's always like remorse, and that one is then directed as hate. But then in most cases, because kids or students don't want to feel guilty, they will disguise the hate into love. So there are some kids or students who does this. Like you hit them, and then somehow in their mind, because they don't want to be guilty, they're attracted to you more. When they get attracted to you, this is like hate disguised into kind of like, so to say, love. So they are kind of coming closer to you. And you have to watch on this one. I also talk to dads. How do you know that something is getting weird in your house? When things that resembles your penis, for example. Things like if you have a spotlight, if you get to a point where you have your children destroying those ones, then it's already alarm. You have to ask yourself, okay, I got some of my properties like the masculine properties destroyed. Then that's already alert. Like think about are we on the right relationship? Are we having a good relationship with my children, or are we having good relationship also in school? So these are things that comes in, and you just want to monitor this ones and helps you. So this is all I wanted to show you today. Talk about punishment. It's a very critical topic. I would really love to hear your comments about it, what you think about it. Have you ever punished a child? Have you ever been punished? And how did that one feel? Thank you so much, and watch this video and subscribe and also share to other people. Thank you so much and have a nice time. Bye.